I've had an 80% reading year. I've had an A, what is that, an A minus? Not even. Is that an A minus? Yeah, I've had an A minus reading year. Hi everyone, it's me, Jess. I have my little notebook here with some notes. Granola, can you get off the coffee table? Every time I film, there's a new iteration of bad behavior from this puppy, who is now a year. Well, he'll be a year at the end of the month. We got him last January. If you want to look back at Granola as a puppy, you can check out my vlog from last January. I'll put a card. Hi, bud. He might make an appearance today. Let's see. So today I'm here to talk about my goals and intentions and just look back on my goals from 2022 and see how we did. I have to set my Goodreads. How many books am I going to read this year? I haven't done that yet. Please excuse the squeaky toy noise. You want to play? I just started rolling. So let's see. Last year, I did set quite a number of goals. It was the first year that I officially set goals and filmed a video about it on YouTube. And I had quite a number of them. And so let's take a look at those, looking back on 2022 and see how I fare. I had as my Goodreads overall the number of books that I wanted to read. I set the number of books I wanted to read as 75 books total. And how many have I read? I think I didn't meet my goal, so I read fewer books than I thought I was going to. The year before I had exceeded my goal. The year before I think I'd read something like over 80 books, which really surprised me, which is why I was so ambitious. Every year is different, right? So how many? No, it's telling me, oh yeah, I read 65 books this year. So I was 10 fewer than I thought. And I did start to fall behind in the summer. Just life got in the way, I guess you could say. Got in the way. I don't know. I mean, I did a lot of fun things this year. I also had a lot of challenges this year. That's just the way life goes. So considering that, well, maybe I'll just talk about what my goals were and then I'll talk about the goals that I'm going to set for 2023. I don't know. I think I did pretty well. I read a lot of really great books this year. And I did not DNF any books this year. So we'll get to that in a minute. I did not DNF any books this year. I have quite a few unfinished books that were not DNF'd. I don't know if that counts as DNF, but I didn't officially DNF. Oh wait, DNF stands for did not finish. So yeah. I have a couple of books that are not finished yet. Will I finish them in 2023? Maybe they will become DNFs. We're going to talk about that in a minute as one of my intentions for 2023 because it's a bit of an issue for me. The second goal that I had in 2022 was to participate in book challenges and readathons. I had 2 book challenges that I initially wanted to participate in. One was the Read Your Bookshelf Challenge and the other one was the Buzzword Book Challenge, and I really failed miserably at both of those. I started out really enthusiastically and I really didn't follow through with either one of those. But I also wanted to participate in 5 readathons, which I actually did do. I participated in 5 readathons. So the Rent readathon, the Desertathon, Tis the Damn readathon for the 2nd year in a row, which was a little less, I feel like it was a little less popular this past year than it was in 2021. The Reindeer readathon again, although I kind of didn't do that well this year compared to last year because the holidays, for some reason, I guess because we weren't on lockdown the way we were in 2021. There was a lot more holiday socializing this year than there was in 2021, for me anyway. And then May the Forest read with you. So I participated in 5 readathons, which I didn't even know there were that many readathons that I could find, and there were, and I like, if you've been around my channel for a while, you'll know that I really do enjoy the gamification of reading. So that was super fun. I thought it would have me reading a lot more though, and in the end, it didn't, or did it? No, I don't think it really did. So that's something to consider. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that again this year. I will still probably participate in readathons, but I'm not sure if I'm going to have it as one of my goals again. The other goals I had, one of them was to read 5 books from TBRs from the previous years. I did pretty well with this. I ended up reading 4 books from my previous TBRs. The books that I read from previous TBRs were Know My Name by Chanel Miller, Luster Leilani, Luster by Raven Leilani, hope I'm saying her name right, Childhood Youth Dependency by Tove Ditlevson, Milkman by Sara Burns, Anna Burns, Milkman by Anna Burns. So yeah, 4 of them. And then the other goal that I had was to read 5 books by authors that I had discovered in 2021 for 2022, and I also read 4, so just short of the 5. I mean, I think it's good to have goals that are specific, and you can check out the goals tag, which I completed around this time last year, and I talk about having specific goals. I think they're really useful because when they're specific, you have something to reach for. Reach being the operative word. And this is very, I guess that's demonstrated by the fact that I managed to accomplish 4 out of the 5. So yeah, 4 out of the 5. I'm an 80%er in life. I'm an 80%er in life. Oh yeah, authors that I discovered in 2021. So the first was The Disappearing Act by Catherine Steadman, Flights by Olga Tokarczuk, although I haven't finished that one either. So that might be, I don't think it's going to be a DNF, but I did talk about this in another video about how they're little vignettes, and it is taking me some time to move through them. Freshwater by Akwaeke Emezi, and Bitter Orange by Claire Fuller. So not too bad with those goals as well. And then I also had, and I'm planning on filming a similar video this week, I had 10 classics that I wanted to read in 2022, and I only read 4 on that list. So I struggled a little bit with my classics, but in the same vein, or on that same note, I decided that one of my intentions was to explore the Russians, and I thought I would read 3 to 5 Russian classics. In the end, I only read 2, but they were 2 biggies. I will sort of pat myself on the back for. I read Crime and Punishment in the early part of the year, and in the second half of the year, just in the last 2 months, I read The Master and Margarita. So not too bad with those. Oh, and I also had as a goal, which completely fell flat over the course of the year, and which I struggled with the year before, and I think I'm going to have to abandon, is I had the goal of reading 2 French books, like books written in French, which I think I'm just going to let that one go for now. I don't know. It seems too much at the moment. Might be a project that I pick up again in the future, but I did read a really wonderful book in 2021 in French that I really, really enjoyed. So I know that I'm capable of it, but I don't know. I just have been really leaning more towards the books in my mother tongue. So I think I'm going to let that one lie for the moment. That's a review of my goals from 2022. All in all, I think I've had a pretty good reading year. Pretty good. Not bad. 80%. A B+ reading year. So my 2023 goals for the upcoming year, and I'm going to also talk about my January TBR. Oh, please don't chew on my tripod. Oh, hi, that's not my tripod, that's your bone. Hi, you gonna say hi to everyone? Okay, so my goals for 2023, I have to set first I'm gonna set my number of books. So I would just like to kind of ballpark based on what was happening in the past year. I think because it's kind of nice to exceed your goal as opposed to fall short of it. So I think I'm going to set my goal to 60 books for the year and see how I do. So if I set it at 60 books, that's like 5 books a month. I think for my TBRs, I'm going to choose 6. Oh, and the other thing that came of all of this, like another goal that I had that wasn't specifically a reading goal, was that I wanted to participate more in the booktube community, watch more booktubers videos and comment more on other booktubers videos, maybe try to do a buddy read with another booktuber, that sort of thing. And I ended up doing a buddy read with Scott from Gunpowder Fiction and Plot. We buddy read Strange Weather in Tokyo, and that was really fun. I really enjoyed that. If you're watching, Scott, let's do something like that again. And if there's anyone watching who wants to try doing a buddy read, maybe for one of my TBRs, I'll suggest a buddy read and we can read along. And then, yeah, so that was really fun. And I ended up also just joining 2 book clubs. Rather than like trying to start my own or something like that, I ended up joining 2 book clubs. One, which is just a group of women in my neighborhood who still meet online because everyone's a bit dispersed. Like some of them are in my neighborhood, but others are dispersed. We used to be in a neighborhood group together and then COVID hit and people moved. Anyway, sorry, I'm babbling. And then the other one is a meetup group that I joined and everyone still meets on Zoom. So I have monthly books for those 2 book clubs. Yeah. So I managed to create some community around reading as well within the booktube world, and also, can you not bite my sleeve? And also just with online book clubs, which is really nice. So that goal I think was achieved. I think if I did too much more of that, I might end up getting a little overwhelmed because, you know, I have my regular full-time teaching job, and I'm going to set my Goodreads goal for books to 60 for my reading challenge for the year. I have, if you watch my video, I have my wrapped TBRs. So that's kind of in line with the goal that I had in 2022 of reading books that were on my TBRs from the year before. So every month I'm going to pull at least one from the TBR. So I'm going to pull one for my TBR for January. I'm going to, so on the note about DNFs, I think for my intentions for 2023, I am definitely going to get on the train. I'm going to get on the train with everyone, especially Scott taught me about this. I'm going to start DNFing books. I only DNF'd 1 book in 2021, and I didn't officially DNF any books this past year, although there are definitely 1 or 2 that I really should have DNF'd, where I really felt like I'm not getting this time back. This is, you know, time in my life I'm not getting back. This is reading, precious reading time I'm never getting back. I am going to start DNFing books. I haven't really decided like what the cutoff would be. Let me know in the comments below how much time you'll give a book before you DNF it. I've asked a few friends, and there's kind of a toss-up between like 100 and 150 pages. I feel like if you get to 100 pages and you're not feeling the book, it's probably unlikely that you're going to feel the book after that. So I'll give it 100 pages, and then if I really don't like a book, I think I'm going to put it down and move on to something else. So I need to be better about DNFing a book. It's like when you buy something and it's in your closet and it's hanging in your closet and you never wear it, but you don't take it out of your closet and donate it. It's like, yeah, okay, you spent that money and you might wear it one day, but you're never getting that money back. Like, you know, so it needs to go out of the closet. I don't know if that's a good analogy or not. So I want to be more intentional about DNFing books in 2023. I don't want to spend time reading a book if I'm not enjoying it. In terms of projects, I want to do more reading of the prizes. I did follow along with the prizes this year, and I did try to read the prizes this year, and I had the idea. I did talk about, I think in one of those like one of those check-in videos where you do your quarter year check-in. I'm sorry, I can't remember which one it was, but they asked you like, what did you want to read, or what were projects you were thinking about? And I talked about the idea of reading the Booker Prize winners as a project or a vlog. I don't think I could do it in a vlog because it would just not be the kind of thing that I could read quickly enough to do in a vlog, because I like to take my time. But I do want to go back and read past Booker Prize winners. And I think I talked about reading, like I have a copy of The Promise and I have a copy of Shuggie Bain. Those are books that I want to read in the upcoming year. And I just finished, not in time to talk about it for best books, but I just finished Hamlet, which I'll talk about in my December wrap-up, which will be coming soon. And so I want to go back and read the Women's Prize winners. I haven't read Book of Form and Emptiness, the Ruth Zeki. I'd like to read that. So as a project, I'd like to go back and read some of the books that won the prize or were shortlisted for the prize in the past few years. I think that's going to be a project over the next year. And of course, maybe spend a bit more time adding the nominees to my TBR. I did do a bit of that in 2022, like to do more of that in 2023. So that's on my kind of goals, maybe 3 prize books from the past 3 years or the past 5 years. And then I am going to film 10 classics that I want to read in 2023. So that's pretty much it. I'm keeping it a little bit more low-key in terms of my goals, because I do think that I might be reading just slightly less this year, just because, you know, life is a bit more opened up after the pandemic and I'm back to full-time work, and I want to keep it, I don't want to rush through the books as much. I want to keep it quality quality on this channel, if you know what I mean. So let's get to my TBR for January. It's been a tradition, well, not that for that long, but I think I'd like to keep it a tradition since last year for my daughter to choose my TBR for January. So I'll talk about the books. She chose 3 books for me, and I have 1 book for one of my book clubs, and then I have a book from my Wrapped TBR, which I'll add to the list, which I pulled. Oh, and one that I chose for myself. So there's 6 books on my TBR for January. So the first one is for my book club. It's the reading list. This was popular a couple of years ago, and I've heard good things about it. It's the story of a grandfather, a widowed grandfather living in London, and is trying to connect with his granddaughter, who is a bit of a bookworm. And he goes to a library, and the librarian has found a forgotten slip of paper in a copy of To Kill a Mockingbird. That's a list of books, and they connect through this list, and that's why it's called the reading list. And I guess it's about the way that these books bring them together, the librarian and this grandfather, and how he tries to connect with his granddaughter through books. So that sounds lovely, and I'm looking forward to reading it. Don't know if anyone's read that one. Let me know. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them. The one that I chose for myself that I've been wanting to read for a couple years, and that's topical because it takes place on New Year's, is Oona Out of Order. It's the story of a 19-year-old girl who is set in 1982. Well, it starts out in 1982, and at the stroke of midnight, it's a time travel book. At the stroke of midnight, oh no, she's supposed to turn 19 at the stroke of midnight. And it says, as the countdown begins, Oona faints and wakes up 32 years into the future in her 51-year-old body. And every year she wakes up at a different point in her life at a different age. So that sounded super fun. And I even tried to start it on New Year's, but I was too tired and it was too late, and I kind of stopped it and then didn't go back to it right away. Definitely want to read it this month. So that was my choice. And then I had my daughter choose 3 for me. Oh wait, I don't have them all here. I was happy because I really wanted to read this one. If you watched my TBR video, I mentioned that I really wanted to read this one. And so luckily my daughter chose this one for me. And that's Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. I've been wanting to read this. It was on my 10 classics that I wanted to read last year. I didn't get to it. I've been talking about it for a while now. I don't know why I haven't gotten to it, but it's set in Paris and it's a story, it's a love story about a young man who finds himself between desire and conventional morality. And it says, with a sharp, probing imagination, James Baldwin's new classic narrative delves into the mystery of loving and creates a moving, highly controversial story of death and passion that reveals the unspoken complexities of the human heart. I will talk about it when I read it more, but I've been wanting to read this for some time. So I was really happy my daughter chose this one for me, unprompted, completely unprompted. So, you know, she knows her stuff. So she also chose Alice Oseman, which I've not read any Alice Oseman yet, so I'm very happy about this. I haven't done a book haul in a while. This is a new addition to my library. We actually exchanged gifts, and as every year we exchange not a lot of books, but we do give books as gifts in our family. And my daughter gave me a book that I already had, which was kind of hilarious because she did look over my shelves before she went shopping and didn't notice the book, which is hilarious. So I exchanged the book that she gave me for this Alice Oseman because I haven't read any and I wanted to, and then she added this to my TBR. It's about a young woman who spends her time studying. She's a student and she makes fan art for her favorite podcast called University. I mean, I don't know that much about it. I've just heard about it and been curious. I'm just looking at the back. It says, when Frances gets a message from Radio Silence, who's the host of University, she gets a message from Radio Silence asking if she'll collaborate with him. Things start to happen. And I'm not going to read any more than that because I want to find out as I read. So excited for that. And then the last one she chose for me is Quicksand by Nella Larson. 2 years ago, I read Passing and loved it. And then subsequently picked this one up, and it's great that she chose it for me because I've been wanting to read it. It's the story about a woman who, I think she's a teacher. Yeah, she teaches at an all-black school in the South, but she doesn't quite fit in because she has she's dark-skinned. And it says her name is Helga Crane, and she teaches at an all-black school in the South, but even there she feels different. She moves to Harlem and eventually to Denmark, and she tries to carve out a comfortable life and place for herself, but ends up back where she started, choosing emotional freedom that quickly translates into a narrow existence. It says Larson's powerful first novel evocatively portrays the racial and gender restrictions that can mark a life. I'm sure it'll be fantastic. It'll be my second book by Nella Larson, and I will let you know. It's not on my 10 classics to read list because I hadn't thought of it when I put that list together. So there you have it. Okay, and then the last one is the one that I pulled from it's already coming apart. From the Rapture TBR, I pulled number 6. And what is it? Oh, it's 5 Little Indians by Michelle Good. It's about residential school system. It might be a bit of a hard read, but that's what I pulled. So there we have it. So that's my TBR for January. Oh, finally we get a shot with Nella. Are you going to say hi? Going to say hello? Hello! Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for spending this time with me, for sticking through the whole video, and I'll see you in the next one. Yeah, thanks so much. Have a good one. Bye. And oh, no, I see something inside. What is it, buddy? What do you see? there. You hear something?